Well, good morning. My name is Jim Tafralian. I'm at the Midwest Skydivers reunion in Ray, Michigan. It's September 1st, 2014. A wonderful event set up and created by Sandy Reed and helped by many. Can't say enough about it. First time 40-year reunion. I heard first time and last time, but we're not sure about that. And it's just a wonderful event. Just meeting one person can make your year, and already I've run into 100 of them from the past. So can't say enough. Nevertheless, I'm here to point out some things that I see around me. What we have is a magnificent collection of photos from my good friend who passed away, Bob Mittig. He was always a happy guy, always had his camera, and after he passed away, he left behind a heck of a collection of photos. Let me show you a bit. It takes a van to haul these things around. And for instance, one after another from, I believe, the 60s, 70s, 80s, rigs and people in here that were little kids, and now they're old-timers like me, and hard to recognize. However, just unbelievable the things that are in this collection. Once he passed away, we had difficulty finding someone who would take care of them properly and show them at the shows. We had a 50-year anniversary at our home field of Tecumseh last year, and some of them were displayed, and finally my friend Pat Solar donated these for proper care to the Skydiving Museum. The Skydiving Museum, Dan Pointer informed me, I thought it was going to be in a rusty old damp hangar somewhere, just some photos and old parachutes. I had no clue it was going to be the high-tech museum that it is. Not to plug the museum, but this is outstanding that our photos and our history have a proper home. No kidding. So anyway, that's one of the highlights and one of the happinesses I got out of this reunion, besides meeting all the people, is knowing that our photo collection, our history, has a good home. I was told to bring in any kind of old paraphernalia or equipment, documents, old anything but magazines. And what I ran into was a parachute years ago that was, I was buying a harness machine. I ended up with a 4-needle machine that I sold to Ted Strong. This parachute, all I wanted was a parachute so I could get some lines off of it. And this gentleman, sorry about the disarray, this gentleman gave me this parachute and said, cut the lines off if you need some 550. Well, I couldn't do that. This is a seat pack from a Beech 18, seat number 10. Manufactured in 1950. It has an old twill canopy, and it turns out that it's what's called a chair chute, where there's a slightly deteriorated cushion cover. You can't tell it's a parachute until you need it. It has chrome hardware. It has a tag on it that says, do not pack after 1968. You simply do up the chest strap, and then it has a lap belt that you unstow, a little tangled here, and put across your lap, because ladies are not going to do up 2 leg straps with a dress on. They would rather ride the airplane down. And this becomes what's known as a chair chute. I didn't have the heart to cut the lines off and throw the rest out, so I've been sitting on it for about 35 years. Finally, I have a home for it. I had no clue that somebody would even want it. And I suggest that anybody else that has anything like this, don't throw it away. Donate it to the museum, because if it needs to be thrown away, let them do it, which I don't think they'll do. And I just can't say enough about it. It just tickles me that it's there. I guess you get a tax write-off too. That's insignificant. But I just feel like I saved something. Saved something from the dumpster, which I did. Okay. I started jumping on May 15th, 1971. It transpired from a party where somebody else had made one. And of course, there were 15 or 20 people that wanted to come the next day. And of course, 3 of us showed up. It was down at South Otter Creek Road in Michigan, near Monroe, Michigan. A gentleman, Bill Weber Sr., D679, trained us up. Actually, Mike Johnston trained us up. And Bill Weber ran the drop zone. Mike Johnston put me out on my second jump. Bill Weber did on the first. And it was under a 28-foot rag. It was uncomfortable, the landing. We were scared. The second jump was one of my most memorable because when Mike was putting me out, I was standing on the tire. Of course, the brake was locked. There was no step on the 182. And he was telling me go, and I was so sure that something was going to go wrong, I thought he was saying no. And I looked at him, and he said, go. And I looked at him, and I said, no. And he looked at me and said, are you chicken? I go, what are you talking about? Well, I miscommunication. I went. I dreaded the landings. After 10 jumps like that, I was ready to quit. And got my own rig. 10 more jumps, back breaking, and then I jumped a PC. Did my first stand-up, and I knew I was in it for the duration. I accumulated about 900 jumps, but they were all special. I became friends with a lot of the right people. I was in the right place at the right time, and wound up on the, in 1972, I had a few hundred jumps, and I wound up on the Beech Nut Star team from Austin Lake, Michigan. And that's where it started. I had Lodestar loads, DC-3 loads, Beech 18 loads, all the best stuff, a few helicopter loads. And we competed in the Nationals in 1973, 4, and 5. And we did okay, but it always seemed like California beat us because they had us believing east is least and west is best. But our main trips were down to Zephyr Hills for the Turkey Day meet. The one meet we had 100 10-weight teams and several Lodestars and DC-3s. And we placed pretty well in those meets, but I think it was second place we took in a couple of them. And that's how it worked out. And then after about 10 years of doing it every weekend, of course I got involved in building equipment and helping with designing it. And after our team sort of broke up, our 4-way team, I wasn't on it, but the Rainbow Flyers was part of our 4-way, or part of our 10-way team. They went on to win the gold medal in Warendorf, Germany, and Pretoria, South Africa, I think in 73 and 74. Maybe 74 and 75. Nevertheless, we had a good run, and then I didn't jump for a while. Came back after a year, and it was like making my first jump all over again. I was so nervous. I was touching everything all the way up, and after making 3 jumps, I was into the swing of things again. Of course, after a year, they laughed at my equipment because it was outdated. Everything was transpiring so quickly back then. We were the first 10-weight team to use all piggybacks and all square parachutes. We had Stratostars. Most people had belly reserves and round parachutes. Of course, we had all round reserves back then. And I let another 6 months go by and then went out to the drop zone, and it was like making my first jump again. I was nervous all the way up, and I said to myself, you're either going to do it a lot or you're not going to do it at all. Kind of like a pilot with an instrument rating that doesn't use it and then gets out and uses it. You're dangerous. You're going to hurt someone, if not yourself. So I gave it up. I quit for life for 7 years. And then I got shamed into making one in 1988 by my buddies in at Flagler Beach, Florida, and then quit for life again. 25 years later here, Sandy Reed put together the Midwest Free Fall reunion, and I knew I had to do some jumps with our team, the remnants of our team. So I gave myself another temporary pardon, so much for life, and got current this summer, borrowed equipment. I did not quite get the malfunction that comes with borrowed equipment yet. It came from 4 different people. We made a couple of team jumps here, the remnants of our team, 7 or 8 people that are still jumping, and made a few fun jumps yesterday, and now I'm supposed to quit for life again. However, the problem is that I'm enjoying it. And I can't do it, and there's a problem with, I'm going to give all the borrowed equipment back. That's why I bought it, or that's why I borrowed it instead of buying it. But I'm looking at the equipment, and I'm seeing this. There were drastic changes in the 73 and 74 and 5 era, where we did things real differently and basically developed the equipment and pulled it out of almost the military converted stage. I see the same designs right now in a lot of that equipment. Sure, some of the corners are cut a little differently, but the design is kind of the same. Yes, there have been some real cute little developments. The canopies are more refined. There's been changes, but I see a lot of things that have been stagnant. We need to make some radical changes, or just try, and probably throw a lot of them out, but we need to take that next step into developing the next generation of equipment. I think we're stuck in a rut here, looking at the old stuff and just using it because it's working. I'm not one to reinvent the wheel, but I am one to have new stuff and have it be working better. Something that might look a little funny could be the accepted practice in the near future, and that's what I see. I don't want to get out of the sport now. I'm afraid I'm going to get back into putting together another rig. I have all my machines, and we'll see how that works out. I got a feeling that 1 or 2 of the items just could be something that would be used. I hope it would be. In any case, we have to give it a chance to move forward and come up with new stuff again. What we have now is wonderful, but let's keep going forward instead of milking what we have. And that's what happened from that party I went to, where 15 people said, yes, we'll make a static line tomorrow, and 3 of us showed up. I had no clue this would happen. So I guess I quit for life 3 times now. And I'm not done quitting for life. And that's about it.